NASA's legacy is forever linked to humanity's greatest leaps, moon landings, Mars rovers, and the dream of reaching beyond our world. Yet, beneath the awe-inspiring achievements lies a complex history marked by tragedy and controversy. Fatal accidents, ignored safety warnings, and silenced whistleblowers have all shaped the agency's path. This article explores not just the celebrated milestones, but also the high-profile disasters and hidden scandals that reveal a darker, often overlooked side of NASA's story. On January 27, 1967, a devastating fire erupted inside the Apollo 1 command module during a routine pre-launch test, claiming the lives of astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee. The investigation revealed serious design flaws, including flammable materials and a pure oxygen environment, compounded by NASA's intense pressure to beat the Soviets to the moon. These findings forced NASA to confront its own vulnerabilities and led to critical safety reforms. However, the tragedy exposed the dangers of prioritizing deadlines over caution, a lesson echoed in later disasters. The tragic loss of the Space Shuttle Challenger and its 7 crew members on January 28, 1986, stunned the world. A faulty O-ring in the solid rocket booster failed in unusually cold weather, leading to the shuttle's destruction just 73 seconds after liftoff. What made the disaster even more haunting were the ignored warnings from engineers about the O-ring's vulnerability. NASA leaders, under immense pressure to keep the program on schedule, pressed forward. The Challenger tragedy forced sweeping changes in shuttle safety protocols and dealt a lasting blow to public trust in the agency. On February 1, 2003, the Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrated during re-entry, killing all 7 astronauts aboard. The cause? A foam strike during launch that breached the shuttle's wing, allowing superheated air to destroy the craft on return. Investigators found that opportunities to detect and possibly rescue the crew were missed, echoing the communication breakdowns of the Challenger disaster. The Columbia tragedy triggered sweeping changes in NASA's risk assessment, flight protocols, and safety culture, a somber reminder that history can repeat itself if hard lessons are ignored. Roger Boisjoly, an engineer at Morton Thiokol, repeatedly warned about the Challenger's O-ring vulnerability in cold temperatures. His urgent concerns were dismissed, and after the disaster, he became a symbol of the cost of speaking up, facing isolation and professional backlash. Boisjoly's experience mirrors the fates of many whistleblowers, ignored when it matters most and sidelined when vindicated. His story remains a powerful cautionary tale about the risks and importance of challenging unsafe decisions. When Skylab launched in 1973, it suffered severe damage. A meteoroid shield tore off, and a solar panel was lost. NASA initially downplayed the extent of the crisis, but the crew's quick thinking and makeshift repairs ultimately saved the mission. This episode exposed how institutional pressures sometimes led NASA to minimize problems publicly, relying on astronauts' ingenuity to overcome life-threatening challenges. Skylab's near-disaster remains a testament to both human resilience and the risks of concealing operational flaws. During the Mercury 7 program, America's first astronauts voiced serious doubts about spacecraft safety and reliability. However, management frequently dismissed these concerns, focused instead on rapid progress and maintaining a heroic public image. This willingness to sideline astronaut input set a troubling precedent for future missions, revealing how institutional priorities sometimes overshadowed the voices of those facing the greatest risks. When an oxygen tank exploded on Apollo 13, the world watched a daring rescue unfold. Yet, later reviews revealed that NASA had downplayed pre-launch warnings about the tank's safety and ignored internal dissent regarding its readiness. Some have alleged that the agency's desire to avoid negative publicity led to a culture of minimizing risks. Apollo 13's near catastrophe exposed how communication breakdowns and the suppression of dissent could have disastrous consequences. In 1966, Gemini astronauts Elliot C. and Charles Bassett died in a tragic plane crash while approaching St. Louis in poor weather. Their deaths prompted scrutiny of NASA's pilot training protocols and risk assessment practices. The incident raised difficult questions about whether operational pressures were compromising safety, reinforcing the need for continual evaluation of astronaut preparation. Following the Challenger disaster, the families of the lost astronauts sued NASA, bringing to light internal documents and testimony that underscored the agency's ignored warnings and safety lapses. The lawsuit exposed a troubling pattern of dissent being suppressed and management overlooking critical risks. These legal battles mirrored high-profile corporate whistleblower cases, highlighting how institutional pressures can stifle crucial voices, even when lives are at stake. Internal NASA studies have long warned about elevated radiation exposure for astronauts on deep space missions. Yet, some reports were minimized or classified to avoid public concern and mission delays. The true long-term health implications of space radiation remain a topic of debate, with some experts urging greater transparency and more robust safety measures. This history of censored findings underscores the agency's struggle to balance ambition with responsibility. In 2007, astronaut Lisa Nowak's highly publicized legal troubles drew intense media attention and cast a harsh spotlight on NASA's psychological screening and crew support systems. The incident raised uncomfortable questions about the adequacy of mental health evaluations for astronauts facing extreme stress. NASA's subsequent reviews and procedural changes highlighted the need for better support, reminding the public that even heroic explorers are still human. Throughout the shuttle era, a number of NASA contractors and engineers flagged serious safety concerns, ranging from faulty parts to rushed inspections. Far too often, these whistleblowers faced retaliation, reassignment, or outright dismissal for speaking up. Their experiences echoed troubling patterns seen in other high-risk industries, where institutional loyalty outweighed critical safety warnings. These stories illustrate how a culture of silence, rather than transparency, can put missions and lives in jeopardy. While NASA faced criticism for downplaying failures and silencing dissent, the Soviet space program was infamous for even greater secrecy and suppression of bad news. Both sides of the space race shared a culture where public image and national pride took precedence over transparency. This parallel history reminds us that the struggle between openness and concealment was a global phenomenon, not just a NASA issue. In the wake of high-profile disasters, Congress has convened multiple hearings to scrutinize NASA's mishaps and internal culture. Investigations often expose systemic issues, management's tendency to minimize risks, resist internal criticism, and discourage open communication. Lawmakers repeatedly called for stronger protections for whistleblowers and more robust safety oversight. Despite these recommendations, progress has been slow and uneven, highlighting the persistent challenge of fostering a workplace where safety and honesty are valued above public image. Despite decades of reforms, concerns persist over NASA's ability to foster a truly open safety culture. Critics argue that the agency still struggles to encourage dissent, fully implement safety board recommendations, and protect whistleblowers from retaliation. The debate is not just about past failures, but about the future, especially as NASA plans new missions to the Moon and Mars. Creating a workplace where every voice is heard remains a critical, ongoing challenge.